Good evening and welcome to the regular City Council meeting for the City of St. Peter, Minnesota. It's Monday, January 12th, 2026. At 7 p.m. we are called to order. Would all please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone should have received a copy of the agenda. Are there any revisions or corrections to the agenda as distributed? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve? All those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Our agenda is approved. Next up are the minutes. The minutes appear in our packet on pages 5 through 7. Are there any revisions or corrections to the minutes as distributed? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor of approval say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes are approved. We have time on our agenda, as usual, for visitor comments. Any member of the audience who'd like to address the council on an agenda item can do so at this time. Hearing none, we also have time for general visitor comments. Is there a member of the audience who'd like to address the council on a matter that isn't on the agenda? All right, please come forward. Yes.
Please.
If you could state your name and address for the record, and we'll give you your 5 minutes to address the council.
Okay. My name is Trish Hiscock-Austin. I live at 611 Jefferson Avenue on the south side of town. I'm here today to speak in support for Carrie Johnson's call for a special session in light of increased immigration enforcement that's happening in town and has really ramped up over the last couple of days. I support and thank Carrie for her leadership on this issue and wanted to be sure to be here to say that. There are others who would like to be here that are not. I have a lot of stories that I could tell, but I'm not much of a storyteller. So I want to thank you all for your service as you work to support folks who live here in St. Peter, all folks who are young and old and born here and not born here. I'm not much of a public speaker, so I'm not going to go on much longer than that, and I won't need 5 minutes. So. But again, I want to thank Carrie in particular for bringing this to light for many community members and speaking voice to the need for us as a city to address, think about, reflect, act on ways that we can increase safety, that we can increase belonging, and folks who are scared in town need to hear us speak out on that. So I thank Carrie for her leadership on that. So thank you.
Thanks, Trish.
Thank you, Trish.
Are there any other members of the audience who'd like to address the council? Hearing none, we will move on to the approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda begins on page 8 of the packet and concludes with a resolution that appears on pages 19 through 24 of the packet. It's a really long consent agenda, so I'm not going to read it in full as I generally do, but I'll walk through the bullet points. On our consent agenda this evening, the St. Peter Herald is hereby designated as the official newspaper for the City of St. Peter during the year 2026. The following institutions listed within the packet are official depositories for the City of St. Peter per the limits established at the levels indicated for the year 2026. There's an error in the packet, so there will be a correction to that memo. It says 14 million for each institution. That should be 18 million. Councilmember Rampt will serve as Mayor Pro Tem for this year. The following official appointments are approved for the calendar year 2026. Our city attorney, assistant city attorney, and city engineer. The finance director and accountant are authorized to initiate and receive automated clearinghouse and electric fund transfer payment transactions on behalf of the city of St. Peter. Our city council rules and procedures are listed on the packet in the packet, pages 19 through 19 through 21. The city code of conduct, initially adopted on September 25th, 2023, will be reaffirmed. Council member assignments to boards and commissions are listed within the packet under bullet point number 8. The City of St. Peter elects not to waive liability coverage limits through the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust. The following purchases will be authorized: a 2026 Ram and a 2026 Dodge Durango, Ram Tradesman. The following vehicles are declared surplus. That's a 2006 Ford F-150 for the Parks Department and a 2019 Dodge Charger for the Police Department. The following board and commissions appointments will be made for the following individuals. Their role and terms are listed within the packet. That's Bob Southworth, Mary Ann Hardy, Ron Saltzman, Ben Griffith, Mark Bachman, Julie Gilbert, John Sylvester, and Bob Sandine. The following employee appointments are approved at the wages and positions listed within the packet: Eric Christensen, Charlie Ressman, Taylor Sickler, Jennifer Wilking, and Melissa Fowler. The following licenses: a tobacco renewal for Patrick's, an amusement device renewal for Patrick's on 3rd, show and theater renewal for Patrick's on 3rd, temporary gambling for St. Peter Ambassadors, Last Man Club, and CADA. Those locations and dates are listed within the packet, as well as the schedule of disbursements for December 5th through 17th, 2025, December 18th through 31st, 2025, and January 1st through 8th, 2026. Is there any questions or discussion of any item on the consent agenda? I didn't make it that much shorter. It was still pretty long. But hearing no discussion, is there a resolution to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Noel?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Ram?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Let's see, we have no items of unfinished business tonight, so we will move on to our first item of new business, which is Gorman Park Phase 2 engineering.
Mayor members, as you can see, Pete is not available tonight, but Andrew Bach, our maintenance superintendent, is here for any very specific questions related to the bid process or how we're moving forward. The action that we're requesting tonight is for you to authorize an amount of $65,000 for Damon Farber and Associates to prepare plans and specifications for Phase 2. There's great information included in the packet. You have talked about this more than a couple of occasions. If you have specific questions related to this, where things might be, how it might fit together, certainly the biggest feature that we're talking about in Phase 2 is the splash pad and associated equipment with that. So that's as we move forward. The item that I want to certainly bring to your attention is that, as you are aware, there is not a secured funding source for this at this point. And so this is putting you into the bid process so that you can accept bids. Members are very aware, as I hope the community is, that you've discussed 2 opportunities for funding in addition to the donations that you have received and some pledges that you will be acting on in the not too distant future. Those 2 primary funding sources would include state bonding dollars, which you've talked with the appropriate elected officials and committees on numerous occasions and have really done a great job with that, and I know we'll continue to push that forward as the legislature comes into session. Should that not happen, you've discussed issuing debt, and so we have done and continue to move forward on the appropriate process for that as a backup should state funding dollars not be in place. I wanted to say that out loud because I think it's important that we have that discussion and that the community knows where you're at and how important this is overall to the council and to the community. And you've seen, and I think have shared or had shared with you, some wonderful thoughts, not only on this phase of the project, but the first phase of the project, which has been great. I'm happy to answer any questions, or if you have more technical questions, Andrew is here to discuss that or answer questions as best we can.
All right, any discussions or questions for Andrew? You might be getting off. Oh, wait, Carrie.
Well, I can't let it go without just, I guess I don't have real specific questions, but just to say that, you know, I feel very committed to this project. Other council members have said that as well. We'll have additional opportunities coming up in just a few weeks here to advocate at legislative action days. There's 2 of them coming up. We'll keep pushing for the bonding and maybe even hope to get additional community support with those advocacy efforts as it gets down to the wire here with funding. But regardless, I feel committed to this project and want to get it done no matter what. And I really appreciate all the community support and the donations and the pledges. That makes a tremendous difference when we get something like this done together.
Thanks, Carrie. Other comments or questions?
I have one for Andrew, if I can.
Yeah.
Andrew, we have really a timeline that's been planned should the council approve this tonight. And so talk just a little bit about what you see for that timeline.
Sure. Yeah, so we're here tonight to, authorize the preparation and specifications for Phase 2 with Damon Farber. And that'll allow us to finalize plans kind of in that February, March timeframe. Look at doing bid openings kind of in the month of March there, with the goal of, awarding in April to the contractor and construction beginning really in kind of that May to October timeframe, similar to kind of what we had last season with Phase 1. So we're looking kind of, again, May to October for that construction phase.
Thank you, Andrew. Great.
Thank you. All right.
Mayor, members, the
Yes.
resolution approving this expenditure with your designers, Damon Farber, is included in your packet. I believe it's on page 27.
That's right. Hearing no further discussion, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
Mayor Noel?
Aye. The resolution is approved. Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up, SCADA replacement closeout.
So in the same vein, as I mentioned earlier, Pete isn't here, but Curtis is here. Curtis is in charge of your water operations, water, wastewater, stormwater operations. The request tonight is for you to approve the final payment to Automatic Systems of St. Paul for your SCADA system improvements, and the amount is approximately $186,000. With my tongue in my cheek, I say this project started about 72 years ago. It feels like that, but not quite that long, Curtis. But there's been a lot of work that's gone into this, and it's a really important system. Can you talk a little bit about what SCADA does, and then we can hope that the council will authorize final payment since it's working?
Yep, the SCADA system actually runs both our water and wastewater plants, and to hint on what Todd was getting at, I was gonna hint at that, that was actually the wastewater plant one that took forever. So that's why this one you, Council, Madam Mayor and Council, you approved in March, and it actually was completed in December, so the last one we did was about 2.5 years, so whether there was supply chain or what, but this one definitely went a lot smoother.
Good.
Yep, so the SCADA systems run everything in our plants from starting up the water plant when the tower gets low enough to turning on this pump to turning on chemicals. Kind of the brains of the plant, if you want to say, put it that way. And with the last upgrade we had to the water plant put in 2019, that system was running on Windows 10, and as of many of you are aware, that was no longer supported by Windows, or Microsoft, excuse me, in October. So looking forward, we just want to make sure we stay ahead of the curve when it comes to technology and make sure our water plant is working to the top to provide safe water for the community.
Well, we appreciate that, Curtis.
Yep, and it was completed, and it actually was a little bit under budget because we did have to do some, we were almost forced into doing some upgrades prior to this project in the middle of it because we lost our copper service with Consolidated. So because of that, that's why you can see the approximately $4,000 savings.
Mayor, members, this was part of your 2025 budget.
Any questions for Todd or for Curtis? Hearing nothing, the resolution accepting the water treatment facility supervisory control and data acquisition replacement project and authorizing final payment is on page 29 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Pettis,
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp,
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld,
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Mayor Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Next up, and I'm sure Curtis is gonna talk to us about this one as well, One Watershed, One Plan Management Plan.
The only thing that I'd introduced before Curtis, we kind of cut him loose to talk a little bit about this, and maybe Councilmember Darrell will talk about this as well, is that you had staff and elected official assigned to really two separate committees that worked on this. And so this is the first real action from this group moving forward. So Curtis or Darrell, I'll let you take it from there.
Like many of you are aware, we did sign the MOA to join in the Minnesota River Mankato One Watershed, One Plan. We are together with several counties and several county soil and water conservation districts.
Curtis, sorry to interrupt, but could you explain what an MOA is for people who aren't
Memorandum
as
of Agreement.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, we did sign on. This watershed was a little unique with everyone else in the room. We have 4 cities involved. The other watersheds that have all been done have been maybe one city with typically none. So that made this one a little more unique. Getting involved with this kind of sets us up in a great spot for when future funding dollars become available. We kind of are ready to rock on projects. It's a watershed plan, as you can see on the link on the memo here. It is linked through the Nickel County Soil and Water Conservation District, which is kind of running the day-to-day business of our One Watershed, One Plan group. The plan itself is 300-some pages, hence why we did not attach it to the council packet. Like Todd had alluded to, myself is on the steering team for this, and then Darrell is on the policy team. I don't know if Darrell has any comments.
Sure. What this is the plan will now be submitted to the State Bowser Board for their consideration and ultimate approval. The 3 steps that are listed in the bullet points there, that's kind of where we're at right now. We anticipate it being approved. It's been through review, a 60-day review already. We've taken public comment. We've had a public hearing on it. We anticipate it being approved sometime around the 1st of June, 1st of July. And then once that is done, funding will open up sometime probably mid-September, October for implementation to actually start taking on some of the projects that are listed within this plan. I believe there's like $22 million in projects listed.
Yeah.
It's a huge amount of projects with many different aspects of the water, from flooding to invasive species to nitrogen, phosphorus, and things like that. So we'll be coming before you probably in the next 3 to 4 months with another lengthy agreement. And that is the kind of the governance of how this this plan will be implemented and who's going to do what and how we're going to participate in that. So this is kind of after a year of putting the plan together, taking public comment. We'll get it submitted, get it approved, and then the funding will open up sometime this fall for future projects for the next 10+ years.
Yep, and where this really helps us as a city, as for projects we would be mostly included with would be either stormwater projects, whether that be stormwater treatment ponds or just upgrades to our system, and potentially treatment for our DWISMA, our drinking water supply management area, for our drinking water, which is essentially the west of town, once you get up from the high school to the west. And it just kind of sets up us in a great spot to get potential funding to help those projects in the future. And like Darrell had said, we will be coming back for our joint powers collaboration agreement, as well as, I believe it's a 5-year, there's some milestones through the 10-year plan. We will be doing some check-ins as well.
Super. Well, thanks for all your work. It's been a really comprehensive project. I know there was opportunity for there was a public feedback process and a big event in Minnesota Square Park. Was that last summer, the summer
Last summer.
before?
Last summer.
Yeah, I attended. I believe Councilmember Johnson attended as well, and it was really good community feedback from St. Peter. So thanks to everybody who participated. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing nothing further, the resolution to submit, adopt, and implement the Minnesota River Mankato Comprehensive Watershed Management Plan is on page 32 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Rampt,
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld,
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Mayor Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Next up, Klein Street closeout.
Mayor and members, this relates to the extension of Klein Street. So this is an area north of Mason, so in the North Industrial Park, past where the hospital is, on the west side there. So the council approved moving forward this project in 2024. That's why it's called the 2024 Klein Street project. And so it is now complete. The council took bids and it was awarded to dirt merchants, and it came in slightly under budget at about $861,000. Our goal for tonight is to ask you to approve a resolution that accepts the project and provides for the final payment of right around $57,500. Information again is included in your packet. If you haven't been out there and taken a look at it, you should. Looks great. Will provide opportunity for your new partners within the community as DOT develops their truck station in that area. We expect that work to start summer, fall of this year, and so that's one of the primary drivers for the extension of this roadway. The resolution's in your packet, and that resolution starts on page 34.
Any questions or discussion?
I have a comment, I guess. This is a street that didn't exist, so this is all new construction.
Correct.
725 feet, so it's roughly 2 blocks.
Yeah, give or take, give or take.
Yep.
$860,000 for 2 blocks. And we have hundreds and hundreds of blocks within this community that we own and take care of, so.
And we got a fair deal on
No,
this.
that's a great, no, it's a good price. No, there's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with the price. It's just, you don't get a lot.
Expensive asset.
You don't get a lot for $800,000.
Yeah.
You get 700 feet of street, so it's more than $1,000 a foot to build a street.
Yep.
Trivia, I think I know the answer to, Todd. How many miles of streets in St. Peter?
Oh, now we're over 52, I think it is.
Yeah.
We'll look that up and send that to you. That's a great question.
I knew it was-
Maybe Jeff, maybe do you know?
It's around 52, 53 miles. something
All
like
right.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Jeff.
It's quite a
Now
bit.
we have now we have 2 blocks more.
I give some people who've watched the meeting to this point a little bit of trivia
Yeah.
that they can impress their friends with.
Yeah.
$1,000 a foot to
Yeah.
build a street.
Yeah.
Over $1,000 a foot.
Madam Mayor, again, the resolution's in your packet on page 34.
All right, is there, thanks Curtis, is there a motion to approve the resolution authorizing final payment for the 2024 Klein Street Extension, Mason Street to 725 North improvements?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Weisenfeld,
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom,
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Mayor Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis,
Aye.
Councilmember Rampt.
Aye.
Resolution is approved. Next up, dissolution of the US Highway 169 Corridor Commission.
Mayor members, Ben is here to talk about that one. You've been a member of this since 2009, and since Ben has been here, he's been the staff person assigned. Over the years, you've had various council members that have participated in this, but Ben, take it away.
Sure. Speaking of roads and expensive roads, this coalition has done a lot. You can see there on page 35 that this group since 2009 has obtained 21 members along 169 and then adjacent entities as well. Some notable projects I'm sure that you're all familiar with was up in the Bloomington, Eden Prairie area. They did the 494 and 169 interchange. They did the 2 belt plane interchanges at Minnesota 25 and County Road 3. There was also the Chaska, Shakopee, Minnesota 41 project, and then, as everybody knows, the 282 project under construction in Jordan, and that'll take a few years to complete. Some more local projects, there was 4 done here. In 2009, we did, of course, the downtown project through the Central Business District and on the south end of town. There was also R-cuts. These are those J-turns, those safer way to cross in the median. And then 2016, flood mitigation projects, and there was actually a project on the south towards Mankato, and then on the north end, and then the double turn lanes here by Quick Trip South in, just back in 2023. There's also 2 notable projects in our area planned upcoming. So the Mankato roundabouts and the Broadway to Union project here on the north end of St. Peter. So since this coalition has fulfilled its original mission and its members have developed the capacity to pursue corridor projects through other regional and legislative channels, the coalition's leadership has recommended an orderly and transparent dissolution process, asking all members to approve a resolution like this shown on page 41. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ben?
I know Daryl was part of that too a little bit.
Yeah.
I actually served on the corridor study back in 2003 when the Ventura administration started this whole process. What's really interesting is if you go back and look, those documents are all online yet, and it shows all the projects that they had planned in 2003 to address the mobility issue between Mankato and 494 and 169, and just about every one of those projects has now been completed. It's very impressive for what they did and how they laid it out and actually got all this work done. I was able to participate in one of the projects, the R-Cut project. LeSueur Hill was actually one of my projects. We got money from the state to build those R-Cuts up at Cambria. So this is how things are supposed to work. These are how plans are supposed to come together, and when people have a vision of what they want to get done, there are ways to accomplish things, and this is, I think, a great accomplishment. Sorry, I'm sad to see this group go away, but they've done well. They've done their job, they've done their duty, and they've improved southern Minnesota transportation to southwest of the metro very much.
Well, interesting to have that long perspective on the
Todd's name was
organization.
in that same report too. Looking at that report, we're about the only 2 names left in there. Everybody else is retired or gone. It's like,
Yeah.
hate to say that, Todd.
Yeah, some are long gone, yes.
All right, any further questions or discussion? The resolution supporting the dissolution of the US Highway 169 Corridor Coalition is on page 41 of the packet. Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Schuerstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
Mayor Noel?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Next up, EDA loan extension.
Ben is here to talk about this, which was recommended by the EDA. Ben, it's yours.
All right, thank you. Back in 2008, Chad Gensel of Gensel Holdings purchased the Anytime Fitness franchise. He then put that facility in the 100 Dot Avenue building, which, if anybody remembers, that used to be a Ford dealership.
Yep.
So he did take out a little $50,000 loan to help with that, and he repaid that successfully. So then, fast forward to 2021, Quick Trip purchased that property at 100 Dot Avenue, and they constructed a new convenience store, or Quick Trip North. The year prior, in 2020, knowing that Quick Trip was coming in, Gensel decided to build kitty corner across the street, a 3-unit building that was $775,000. So Anytime Fitness was going to be the anchor of that new building. But at that time, in 2020, he asked the city and the EDA to take on a loan of 10% of that cost. So the city and EDA did approve that, and now they approved it with a 5-year review balloon. So it's been 5 years. And so just last month, the EDA reviewed that, and they did recommend approval of extending that loan, and we would review it again in another 5 years. And the loan review committee looked at it as well, all the documents that come with, and they don't have any concerns with the applicant's ability to honor that note and make those payments. So with that, I'd happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions or anything that either Brad or Carrie as EDA members want to provide? Carrie?
Well, I'll just add, at the meeting, I asked, about the lease space there, and as you drive by, you can see that it is, but he did say he has all of those spots filled, so the property is doing very well.
Yeah, Brad.
I'd like to say, on the interest rate thing, why the interest rate has gone up is because we instituted policy, was it about a year ago or? Basically, just to add consistency, our banking committee, our banking review members always did an excellent job, but they were kind of projecting at certain points what they thought the interest rate should be. So now we just have a set policy, 2% under prime if it's secured by real estate, and it's prime rate if it's unsecured, right?
Correct.
And in this case, as interest rates have gone up since it started, our loan fund is going to get an additional $129.90 a month in payments. So the additional interest will go into our accessibility grants that we're going to be looking at over the next 5 years as well. So I think I do really like the policy that the EDA has implemented, just to have consistent loan rates, and so that we can know what we're going to be getting for our loan fund for our accessibility grants going forward. So.
Anything else? Hearing nothing further, the resolution approving a 5-year balloon payment extension for the Anytime Fitness revolving loan is on page 44 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember DeVos,
Aye.
Mayor Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis,
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp,
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld,
Aye.
Councilmember Sharpstra.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben.
Next up, Scholarship America lease modification.
Mayor and members, as you may recall, you purchased property from Scholarship America, well, now just a little bit over a year ago, and we continue to be in the construction or the remodel phase for that facility. Part of the discussion at the time in the original design included really building a new break room area and a new security room. As we progressed and moved forward, our understanding about how things are going to work, what we might see for lease space, how costs are attributed, have grown. And so this lease would suppose that you would reduce the square footage that Scholarship America has, and the break room that I believe all of you have seen would not be within the lease package that Scholarship America has, but would revert to city use. This then reduces the cost of the construction that you have going on right now for both that break room and the security room. The security area or the fallout shelter area would be in that area near the elevator, subgrade in that middle portion between the original building and the expanded building. The terms that were discussed here and approved by Scholarship America are really using the lease terms multiplied by the square footage, so the dollars per square foot. So that's how the number is being determined, and then a small amount for the utility change that's included in here in the common area maintenance. So that's how this was derived. At some point, it is likely that the building committee and then potentially the city council may see a change order for additional development of hallway construction or restroom construction within that total leased area. This might impact that in a positive way, and that it might further divide or define what lease spaces are available. But I think I know for sure we're still doing some work on costing that, designing costing for that. So my hope is that the building committee will see that within the next couple of weeks, and the council then shortly thereafter if there's a recommendation. The recommendation that I have for you is to modify the lease as is prescribed here. I think included in the packet is a footprint, a layout of what we're talking about. But again, I think all of you have been in the building and have seen what that looks like and how that fits together. I think this is potentially a benefit overall, not just due to some cost savings, but it allows you to have some bigger potential space for utilization, training, and utilization of that break room. Again, I'm happy to answer questions as best I can, but the resolution is included in this on page 52. This would be, if approved, retroactive to January 1st. That's the terms that Scholarship America wanted, so we make an adjustment within the lease for that going back to January 1st.
Any questions for Todd, or I don't know if Daryl, you have any thoughts? We're both on the building committee.
It makes sense what you're doing. We walked it a month or so ago, and it makes sense what you're doing, so I support this.
I would agree. It's the break room is in really good shape. It's a great size for our staff, and
they're not using it. They haven't used it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
All right, hearing no questions, the resolution modifying lease with Scholarship American property located at 1 Scholarship Way is on page 52. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Noel,
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson,
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis,
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp,
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld,
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom,
Aye.
Councilmember Dallas.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Next up, Paul is here to talk to us about River's Edge software purchase.
I'm so excited there's something finally more expensive than hospital stuff.
You are-
spoke too soon.
Today there is. Thank you. Tonight I am here to ask for, on recommendation from our CFO, we're requesting to move forward with a modernization and upgrade to our finance and supply management system. The upgrade to the system is long overdue. It's been put off for, I would tell you, at least 4 years, probably closer to 8, just based on the cost for the upgrade and the financial situation, to be perfectly honest, that the hospital's been in. So it's been delayed, and now really we're looking at how can we make our system more modern, how can we reduce our manual processes, and how can we align the work with the finance system and the supply management system with the rest of our plan to increase the use of technology in the organization. So in the memo on the table, it talks about the differences that the upgrade to the GeForce. So it's an upgrade to Infor Cloud Suite, and what I'm asking for tonight is actually the GeForce statement of work to start and implement the software. So there is a price tag of $579,950 for the management system for implementation services, and this is on a not-to-exceed basis. There's also an additional subscription fee, which is incorporated into our operating budget. That goes up slightly. I think she's got that in the memo as well. It moves from $108,000 per year to $162,000 per year, but again, that's already accounted for in our operating budget. In transparency, there was a need to sign a letter and a contract to move forward with the management system prior to the end of the year. And so after conversation with Todd and conversation with the hospital commission, we did move forward and sign that. The reason being there would be an additional $32,460. So just over $97,000 for the project if we wouldn't have signed that before the end of the year. So in full transparency, that's been signed. So I am coming tonight to ask for maybe forgiveness, but approval of the upgrade to the system so that we could start moving towards the cloud suite and upgrading our system there.
I'm with Paula. I'm asking for forgiveness on moving this forward. It seemed appropriate. Certainly it's clear that the funding source for this is the hospital. This has been recommended by the Finance Committee and the Hospital Commission to you to move forward.
We had 100,000 reasons to approve this at the hospital. So this was fully transparent. We knew what she was doing and what they were doing, and I support doing this. It saves us almost $100,000 by doing it this way. So it was a good move.
Thank you. Carrie?
Yeah, and we didn't have any other council meetings in December to be able to really look at
That's
this, so
correct.
That's another reason. But I would just say, you know, the majority of the time, I mean, we talk about a lot of things at the hospital commission meetings, but the biggest one is finance. And some of the things that we ask for in workshop or at the meetings can be really challenging with the systems that exist that are outdated. And this is going to help with efficiencies and for us to be able to, I think, analyze so much easier and better, especially as just the industry of hospitals is challenged by low margins, negative margins. We're not in that position right now, but this will help set us up for success in the future in the finance department and the strength of the hospital.
The
So I
two
support this.
the two departments that it affects the most, the finance department and their materials management, are both departments of 3 people. And so the more manual work that they need to do, the longer it takes and the more difficult it becomes. And so really moving forward with the upgrade is going to be helpful to all of their work, so.
All right. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing nothing further, the resolution approving purchase of GeForce Cloud Suite FSM implementation services is on page 55 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
Mayor Noel?
Aye. The resolution is approved.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Paula. For anybody who's counting, we only have 7 items of new business left, so we're doing great. Next up, new registrations.
Mayor and members, this falls into the category of registrations technically, but oftentimes we think about these as licensing. Since these are new and not renewals, under your policy, they come to you as a separate action item. Renewals come as a part of consent agenda. So this would be new for Smoker's Choice and for MGM Wine and Spirits. They've both submitted registrations to sell low-potency hemp edible products. The locations meet the rules that you have in place, and they meet the criteria that has been established through the state of Minnesota and through the city. Resolutions included in your packet to approve both of those for those low-potency hemp edible products. The resolution's on page 57.
All right, any questions or discussion? Hearing none, the resolution approving new licenses is on page 57. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
Mayor Noel?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
The resolution is approved.
Madam Mayor and members, I missed this on the first pass and the second pass, but with your approval, we would modify the resolution to say registrations, both in the title and in the second line.
Oh,
Thank you.
yep.
Instead of licenses, they are technically registrations.
Registrations.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Gotcha.
Missed that one. There's a third one listed in there too, so we'll make those
All
modifications.
right. Moving on to library services.
Mayor and members, this is something that you've seen on a regular basis for now more than 25 years and relates to work that has gone on with Nicollet County and that the requirement for Nicollet County to provide funding for library services, not only here, although this agreement relates to St. Peter, but throughout the county. I wish I could tell you that they're providing us more money than they have in the past. As you know, a few years ago, they increased at $5,000. We have continued to ask for additional funds and provided information to Nicollet County related to that. We, being both St. Peter and North Mankato, have jointly requested that. So, to be very practical, this is factored in as a part of your budget. If you do not approve this agreement, you'll be about $55,044 short on your revenue stream for your library. It is also true that we want to thank the county for providing these resources. It is also true they're required to do that. And so we'd love for them to expand the amount of money that they provide to you. But we would be remiss in not saying thank you for these dollars and entering into the agreement with them with the understanding that we continue to be likely to request more dollars within the future. In the future, you have both residents of the county and the city, and frankly other jurisdictions that utilize your great library system, as with North Mankato. And so we certainly believe that additional dollars are warranted. Costs have gone up more than the increase in dollars that they provided over the years. But we're happy to have those dollars, and there's a resolution entering into the agreement as you have over the past 20 plus years. I think that resolution is on page 65, if I remember correctly.
You were close, 63.
Thank you very much,
You're
63.
welcome. Any questions or discussion? All right, comes up every year. Resolution authorizing execution of library purchase of services contract for 2026 is on page 63. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
We
Second.
have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ramp?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
Mayor Noel?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Next up, city assistance for the 2026 Polar Plunge.
Mayor and members, even though there has been a change in sheriff as of the first of the year, the previous sheriff, Dave Lang, submitted a request for for utilization of Hallett's Pond for the polar plunge, where the revenues, the profits go to Special Olympics, which has been a great cause. They've been involved in this project for many, many years, and it's my understanding the new sheriff will continue to carry that forward, not just this year, but in future years. We've had wonderful cooperation from the folks that own Capitol Lofts in that area, and certainly from Hy-Vee. I think Hy-Vee really enjoys having that event there. It drives a lot of people to their store over a few hours, and so they enjoy having that. We provide some participation and some effort behind this, including portable bleachers and cutting some of the ice. You'll see within the packet, the Sheriff Lang's request and a resolution. As with all events of this type, we certainly do expect that they provide the appropriate level of insurance, which is outlined as a part of your practice and as a part of state statute. So I'm happy to answer any other questions that you have related to this, but the resolution, I believe, is included on page 66.
It is indeed. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Weisenfeld.
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Mayor Noel.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Another request for city assistance, the St. Peter Patrick's Day Parade.
Mayor members, this is from the ambassadors who have sponsored this event for more than a couple of decades. This, of course, would be on St. Patrick's Day, which is March 17th of 2026. I point that out specifically because there are lots of communities that have St. Patrick's Day celebrations, but they tend to be on the Saturday before or the Saturday after, depending on when the 17th occurs. So in St. Peter, it's on the 17th. This would include having a parade on 3rd Street, generally from Broadway to Mulberry, so generally from Hometown Bank to where the food co-op is. They're required to provide the appropriate level of insurance, and we provide some barricades and those types of things as a part of this overall event. Again, information is included in your packet, including the request from the St. Peter ambassadors and the resolution on page 69.
So you're saying St. Peter, we're hardcore when it comes to St. Patrick's Day.
It's St. Patrick's Day on the day or
the
bust.
day.
Yes.
Any questions or discussion about the request? Hearing nothing, the resolution appears on page 69 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Sharstrom.
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos.
Aye.
Mayor Noel.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis.
Aye.
Councilmember Ramp.
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. Next up, 2026 fee schedule modifications.
Mayor and members, you'll see a couple of versions of this within your packet. The memo starting on page 70, I think, outlines the most significant changes. You review this on a yearly basis. From my perspective, the most significant changes are you've built some additional pavilions or shade facilities, and so those are included. So some miscellaneous fees related to their utilization and reservation. Also baseball or softball tournament related fees and body-worn camera footage. This is something that we are on a par with our neighboring communities related to development and the processing that it takes to be able to provide what I would call clips of that based on requests for information. There have been a few fees that have been removed and modified use of rooms, modifications to the building here as an example. 215, room 215 and 217 have been combined now. You approved construction, and as that gets concluded, that changes the nature of this just a little bit. And some pumps that we would move forward that are changes to what we have available for folks to use. Again, we don't necessarily want to be in the pump rental business if we can avoid that along with other equipment. We have some other changes related to clarification or correction of errors. Maybe it's a typo here, a typo there, an additional explanation related to a fee that we've had some questions on. Certainly making sure initial cannabis micro business registration fee is updated as appropriate. So this information is included in your packet. I would say that there isn't one change here that tips your budget over one way or the other. Certainly if the council made a wholesale change, this could impact enterprise funds or your general fund. but the changes that you see here are relatively moderate in nature. And certainly we're driven in a couple of different ways, one of which is to make sure that the fees represent or are continue to be representative of the costs we actually incur in processing, doing, giving, providing, selling, trying to think of other adjectives, but you get the idea as a part of this. The resolution's included in your packet. I think that resolution starts on page, well, I don't know, 78.
90.
There we go. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any questions for Todd? Daryl?
I support what's proposed here, what was given to us. I would ask that the city administrator and their staff look at fee number 190, the street flat assessment fee. We have projects coming up on 3rd Street, 4th Street, and Minnesota Avenue, which contain commercial property. I believe we need to set a fee for commercial property and for residential. They should be different fees calculated different ways. So I would advocate for an additional street assessment fee for commercial type property for some of our upcoming projects. Thank you.
If I could, Madam Mayor, answer to that is that our goal had been is that as we get further specifically related to those commercial properties, that you have a separate workshop discussion that's really dedicated towards that issue. As you are all aware, you changed the assessment policy, forgive me, 6 years ago, something like that, a little while ago. And so our goal would be to have a really clear discussion as a part of that, as opposed to or in addition to what you see here. What you do see here related to the assessments that we have in place under that number is a slight increase from the previous year, but it does not take into consideration those commercial aspects of it.
Brad?
Just to add on to Daryl's, I agree with looking at the commercial a little bit deeper, and part of it is basically with the large lots that commercial properties take up, and they may just get an individual $8,300 assessment or maybe a 1.5 times the size. There's a lot more space there that we're unable to assess for, and a lot of these projects, the bonding dollars that we need a certain percentage of assessed value to a bond for, and that's why the commercial properties oftentimes need a higher assessment. So.
All right. So not going to hold up our vote tonight, but good to know that we'll have some future conversations about that. So.
Dustin had a comment.
Oh, Dustin.
I was just going to make comment. I will be abstaining as much as these fees are not exactly controversial. I do serve on the Softball Association's board as well. One of the fees directly impacts us, and we spoke on behalf of that.
Thank you. Appreciate the transparency. All right. I don't hear any further discussion, and hearing none, the resolution appears on page 90 through 106 on the in the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
Mayor Noel?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Ram?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
Councilmember Schuster?
Abstain.
All right. The resolution is approved. Next up, city administrator contract.
Mayor and members, I won't speak to this, but the city attorney, if I can say, chaperones this process, the review process and contract for you. And so the assistant city attorney, Steve Winkler, is here, and so he can talk about this with you and for you.
Yeah, good afternoon, good evening. As you've all been involved in this process as far as questionnaires that were asked to be filled out, that information was collated, put together, and distributed for you here. This is a process that I think all members here have been involved in the past and are likely familiar with it. It's been substantially similar to how our office has conducted this assessment in the past. So I am prepared to answer any questions you might have about this, or any direction where you would like this conversation to go. I'm happy to chime in as I am able.
Thank you. Any questions? Oh,
Yeah,
Josh.
I was going to say, I reviewed this and I was comfortable with the minor changes that were made. We had a various language that was kind of moved around, but after some email exchanges, with council, I've been comfortable with the current language of this policy, or of this agreement.
Thank you.
Thanks for doing that for us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I'd like to say, as always, we had healthy conversation as to whether the city administrator should receive an increase or an invoice. But this does reflect the satisfaction of the job Todd has done over the last year. There's been a lot going on. Gorman Park, the new city hall, and it's a reflection of our satisfaction with the way Todd has performed his responsibilities this year. So.
Any other questions or discussion? We did implement a revised process, a 360 process about 5 years ago-ish, but yeah, provides ample opportunity for feedback from staff and elected officials, so that is part of our consideration. Hearing, or I don't see any hands, no discussion. The resolution modifying the city administrator's contract appears on page 117 of the packet. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Noel?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Pettis?
Aye.
Councilmember Ram?
Aye.
Councilmember Weisenfeld?
Aye.
Councilmember Sharstrom?
Aye.
Councilmember DeVos?
Aye.
The resolution is approved. And thanks to Todd for your years of service.
Thank you, Mayor members. It's, continues to be a pleasure and honor to serve in St. Peter. Things work here that don't work in other places, and that's a large credit, not just to city administrators, but really to the staff and the council that make it go. You have not been afraid to try things that have paid off for you and continue to have a very high-quality community. And I hope you hear that at some of the venues, some of the activities, some of the other group gatherings. St. Peter does well, and so good for all of us. So thank you.
Yeah, you betcha. Now, I think we have a Parkview grant reporting requirement, or is that?
We do. I was planning to do that under reports of the city
okay.
administrator.
Then let's not jump ahead. We'll start with a report from the mayor. Just wanted to thank our resident who came and spoke to us today about her concern regarding ice activity in St. Peter. And as well to acknowledge I think we've probably all received emails and communication from residents, and I hope that people know the seriousness that we take resident concerns with, and whether or not we have a special meeting or we address this issue in another manner. I know I've been in touch with affected community members, as have other elected officials. I know our police chief and staff are also in close communication, and so just want to acknowledge the concerns within our community and thank everybody who's reached out and been in touch with me. So we'll move on to reports from council members. Are there any council members with reports? Carrie?
I just wanted to report that I emailed our city administrator, Todd, earlier this morning to ask for a special meeting regarding the ice activity in town and the really widespread collective fear and chaos it's causing. I hear from people, but I've also seen it firsthand in the business where I work. And the impacts. I've talked to other business owners who are very much impacted. One told me today that this feels worse than COVID. And so I think when we have what feels like an unprecedented situation where we have federal agents not following the rules, it requires leadership. It requires collective cross-governmental leadership. And so I think it starts with us as a body, as a council body, to meet and to work with city staff and form a strategy. I don't think that this is ending anytime soon, and so it requires us to pay special attention and to share with our community what our approach is. And so based on our rules, we would need other council members to speak up and say that they also want a special meeting. So I have done that with our city administrator, And there is a waiting period, which maybe our city administrator can speak to if we did hold a special meeting. I don't think that this can wait until Monday night for our workshop.
So if I can,
Yeah.
let me talk clearly about process, and just as a point of clarification, so that people that might be watching, and certainly the city council, just to remind you, Monday night is Martin Luther King Day. So
I'm
you
sorry,
don't be,
Tuesday,
yeah, yeah.
thank
So
you. Yeah.
your next workshop would be on Tuesday.
Then it definitely can't wait till Tuesday.
Yeah, and so wanted to be clear about that. The process that is in place under Minnesota statute is really, really clear. The opportunity the mayor can call for a special meeting, or 3 members of the council can write, email, communicate with me, and that would establish it. You're required under the statute to provide 72 hours of notice, which really means 72 hours of notice, which also articulates what the agenda is. You can't just say, well, we're going to have a meeting, but we don't know what it's going to be about. We have to say what the issue is going to be about. I would offer, and I don't have a perspective on what's the right way to do this or the wrong way to do this, but I would say it's really clear that the council has been proactive in this area substantially, that you have had plans and done really great work through community conversations and other efforts with the community and or the sub-communities within St. Peter that have been impacted by that. So I think that's fantastic. Certainly we could talk more about what the city's response is, what our general rules are related to use of facilities, not use of facilities. Information and data are some of the things that at least I believe there might be questions about. And then there certainly can be discussion related to what our response is to challenges that occur within the community. I would tell you that is certainly within the purview of the mayor and the council to decide whether you want to have a special meeting on that. I would suggest very strongly that if you do move forward in this vein, that there's a clear discussion about what you're expecting for outcomes. Is this a sharing of information, or is this a community input opportunity? And so I think those are just things as we establish meetings and kind of ground rules surrounding what the expectation is for outcomes from those meetings that we would commonly look at, regardless of whether we're talking about immigration or ICE or building a park facility. Those are the kind of things that we would want to talk about as a part of that process. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have going forward. I think the work that you've done with the mosque, through community conversations, through Thread, with the Good Neighbor Diversity Council, are all things that have put you in a good stead in communicating with many of the communities that might be more directly impacted than I personally am on this issue. So I wanted to promote that because I think that's good work that lots of communities haven't done, that you should feel good about in communicating with those subsets within our community.
Brad?
So on this topic, so I'm not opposed to a special meeting. The only question I would have from a timing perspective, based off of the 72-hour requirement, would be, and that's from an agenda publishing perspective. And one of the things I would like the meeting to cover is the economic impact, because there is a direct economic impact going on in the community. But if we need to have an agenda laid out, would that agenda not be laid out until Wednesday? And if that case, then we'd probably be looking at a Tuesday meeting from a 72-hour rule, wouldn't we? Or I guess that's my only question. Is like I said, I would, if you could get it, right now I would say we'd be looking at Friday at the earliest, based off of the agenda requirement. Wouldn't you say? I mean, and that would be as if you could get one out tomorrow.
So if I may,
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
it depends on how definitive you want to be. There's obviously many different directions that this could go. Based on what you've said, based on what some of the folks, some of you have shared with me, whether it's a part of emails or through other communication, based on the work that you've done previously proactively related to this, my thinking would be is that if there was one declared tonight, you could have a meeting on Thursday evening. You would meet the 72-hour requirements for that. The agenda may, should you choose, look like this. What are the city rules related to federal agencies utilizing utilizing local facilities, publicly owned city facilities, and or requests for data? I think those are the two primary issues that I see, and so that's something that we can certainly generate an agenda on in a relatively short order and make sure that that goes out as a part of it. I think we can make that work out. Again, I think it's creating the appropriate expectation. If it's the goal of the council for this to be an opportunity for the community to come forward and express their concerns or just ask generalized questions, that's one thing that probably needs a little bit more time in preparation. If it's a kind of iteration of the rules that you have in place related to those areas, that's something that we can do relatively quickly, easily, cover that well for you. If I could express, the rules that the city has in place related to federal agency utilization of public facilities or acquisition of data are rules that have been in place for more than a couple of years. Whether it's John or Jane Doe requesting information or a federal agency requesting information, the rules are the same. You have said, and we have been clear, that we are under no obligation to provide meeting space or staging space or storage space in public facilities for federal agencies. We are not required to do that. That would require a lease on the part of the city council, and there hasn't been a request for that. We have not seen a request for that. You haven't entertained a request for that. So, as an example, publicly owned facilities, if someone from a federal agency wanted to walk through the lobby in the community center today, they could do that. You do not have an ability, at least from my understanding, I think we'd have to think really hard to be able to establish an ordinance or trespass a federal agency from being able to use or walk through public spaces or be in a park or utilize a sidewalk at Minnesota Square Park as an example, which would be considered in the right of way. We can express those kind of, that framework around the rules that are in place currently. That's not different again than what we would have seen 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, if Jane or John Doe wanted to utilize those facilities in that way. So maybe it's, I hate to say simple because this is an emotional issue and none of this is easy, but maybe the clearest path could be, again, if you want to have a meeting, to be able to express that or to develop some type of document that's on our website that more clearly articulates those rules that have been in place for more than a few years. I'm happy to talk more. This could go in 1,000 different directions.
Any other questions or discussion? Carrie?
Well, if I may, the intent of my email to call a special meeting wasn't necessarily for public forum. It was, some pointed discussion items. For instance, having our police chief be there at the meeting to for us to talk through some of the issues from the perspective of, I'm very concerned about our residents' legal protections. Seeing videos where due process is not being followed. So I think, law enforcement, cross-governmental collaboration, longer-term planning, if this continues, is required. And those, for me, would be the goals of a special meeting. Again, I don't think it can wait till Tuesday. This is a pressing issue. It is creating havoc in our community, and people are scared, and they're looking to us for leadership. And so I think it's really critically important that we meet. And again, based on the rules, and hopefully be quick about it. We need other people to say yes to that, whether that's emailing or contacting Todd, or if you want to speak up in this meeting. But those are my. I feel strongly about it, and hopefully see support for a special meeting.
Thanks, Carrie. Further discussion on this topic, or are there other reports from council members? All right, then we will move on to a report from our city administrator.
Mayor, members, there's information included in the last page of your packet on page 118. I do want to express that this is, at least from my perspective, a new requirement put in place by DEED, which is the Department of Employment and Economic Development. This really relates to conflict of interest rules and the council and potentially the city attorney providing data to DEED to close out the $500,000 grant that the city received for the improvement of HVAC and roof structures and decking at Parkview Manor. Many of you know Parkview Manor is located on 4th Street. It is the city's HRA, Housing Development Authority. Currently, and I guess into the future here, based on the resolution that you passed, Councilmember Josh is the member that serves as the liaison to that committee. The goal here that I have is that we have to do a report of this type that is then entered into the minutes, and then this information is put together by your city attorney and sent to DEED to be able to close out this grant. I think the most significant issues that are related here, based on what DEED has expressed to me, are twofold. One of which is that the council appoints all members to the HRA board, which is a fact and something that you've done for years and years and years as a part of your rules, and that a council member is actually assigned to that, which is documented as you're aware. In addition to that, you have one board member that was on the board when this grant was received and through the vast majority of the construction that also lived there. Our goal is to articulate that Josh's membership on the HRA board nor the membership of a resident constitutes a conflict of interest related to this grant or any contractors that participated in the grant. I wish I could be more clear. This seems to be overkill, but we are happy to meet the requirements for the $500,000 that supports a housing complex that is very important within the community and serves seniors that are very low income and disabled folks that are very low income. It's an important part of your housing component, and having this $500,000 has been very important in the improvement of the HVAC and the maintenance of the roof. So that's my report. Happy to answer any questions if you have. Our goal would be for this to be included in the minutes, which Keisha will do for you. But certainly I'm open to any questions that members might have. Trying to check off those boxes and meet those requirements for you.
Well, and we did a tour as a council before Christmas
Nice
break.
tour.
So it was great to see the good work that happened, and really it was transformational because of the skylights in there, and so really needed to be done, and it is an important place in our community.
You understand what you're doing, what you have done, who members are, and that there is not a conflict of interest based on that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'd just like to clarify, just make sure it is clear. I am supportive of Councilmember Johnson's request as for a meeting as early as possible. So.
Okay, thanks, Brad. Any further comments, questions, reports? All right. Hearing nothing further, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.